Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, May 24, 2023. The time is 5:51. This is the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Mr. Luis Ramirez.
Present.
Mr. Marcos Camilla. Absent. Victor Vasquez, myself, present. Rafael Antonio Martinez. Absent. Mr. Joe Barron. Absent. Mr. Fernando Randazzo.
Here.
Present. And Mr. Robert Ortiz. Mr. Rodolfo Morales. And Mr. Alfonso Poncho Ruiz.
Present.
There is no quorum to conduct today's meeting, so we will just have a brief discussion group, and no action will be taken on any of the items. Coach Gomez?
All right, good afternoon, everyone, thank you for being here. As you know, we have not quorum, so there's only one item that we had an item for action, for possible action. So therefore, we're gonna remove that one from the, we won't talk about that one until next time we meet, hopefully. And it's a letter that I wanted to send to council, as far as naming rights, and, you know, whenever you name a park, whenever you name all that, so. Can't discuss it, we'll go over it, but we can vote on it. You're more than welcome to read it there. I guess you can read it. We can
discuss it as long as we don't vote on it.
Right. So if you will go to your first tab, I'm sorry, you have to approve the minutes, I'm sorry, first of all?
No, we cannot.
We can't, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, if you go to your, the yellow tab here, we all have the same color, Laura?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, May 24, 2023, your Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Councilman Gonzalez, Councilwoman Daisy, Councilmember Melissa Cigarroa, Councilmember Alberto Torres, Councilmember Ruben Gutierrez, Councilmember Tyler King, and Councilmember Melissa Cigarroa. Dear Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, on behalf of the City of Laredo Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, we are writing to express our deep concern over recent actions taken by the City Council regarding the renaming of certain parks. On February 6, 2017, the Facility Naming and Recognition Commission was created and was charged with the responsibility to adequately name and dedicate city facilities, including but not limited to parks, buildings, and offices. Discussions and criteria including not renaming parks already named after an individual, limiting it to individuals who are no longer among the living, and not changing the name of a park that is widely known by its present name for over 50 years or more. This board, representing each member of the council and mayor of our community, would like to strongly recommend that each renaming take the required steps to go before the Facility Naming and Recognition Commission to allow the public an opportunity to provide their input and preferences on the naming and renaming of a cherished area within our community. Thank you for your consideration.
Well, I would like to say that with over 50 years or more, I think it should be after 1 year. You know, let's just give a grace period of 1 year. It's, you know, if maybe something else has been named, or maybe the initials have a negative connotation on them or something. So give ourselves, well, give the people, or give the city 1 year to change the name. After 1 year, it should just stay. Because leaving it, you know, giving council 50 years to change it is like a lifetime. It's the same.
Actually, what that meant, the intent, that sentence was not to touch, and case in point, we've had a lot of comments with regard to Market tennis courts. It's going to be named Papas, correct?
Yes.
And I've had a lot of comments from people saying, Papas? But it's been Market since I was a kid.
Exactly.
And so that's what I was referring to in putting that, you know.
Well, for the existing parks.
Correct.
Okay.
Like, why are you changing a park that's been named because of the subdivision or because of the street, whatever the case is, for over 50 years? Why are you changing it now? And so that was the.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I don't think any names on parks, current names on parks should stay. All names, and then for any new parks, just give the city grace period of 1 year, because you never know, sometimes it's been printed, and, you know, it might be after somebody whose initials will be KKK. So, but then we didn't see that at the beginning, you know, so, okay, we have, you know, we can change that. But it's, but something will come up within a year. If it doesn't happen within a year, then it stays.
Right.
And this is a good step moving forward because, of course, this committee has been exploring or discussing these items already for a while. Now, if we were to take it over to council so they could send it back to the renaming committee, I think it should also be taken to the committee that oversees the city charter. So something can be, in order, can actually be put there. To me, my recommendation, and I told several council members when they were running for office, not necessarily as council members now, but when they were running for office, that I was able to meet with them, I said, you all should look at the facility and naming committee to only be active 1 year every 5 years. Because you don't have to rename facilities every year. You don't have to rename, it takes funding, it takes, power, the resources and all these things. And that was my advice, is go on and bring your facility and naming committee every 5 years. Because one term is every 4 years, so that'll give two, the outgoing and the incoming to have some kind of input, and that, for that committee to be tasked only operational for 1 year. They have that time period. And that's us, and that's the city proving, hey, we're taking these considerations, and then, applications, right? For applications to be submitted. Have people come and speak for or against. Tweak the way that the process is to be done.
Correct.
Right now, let's say, for example, if somebody applies for a job, it's usually not just one person, it's several individuals, right? And then references. You wanna give that committee that say to have, all right, these people came and spoke against, these people spoke for, and here are references. It's more than one person that wants to name it after this particular individual for this reason, and then this person that we're naming it after is no longer alive. So that's also a plus. So that's something that, I can recommend that we also add, or that we want to speak up against, when going to our council members, report back, at least, and I'm here representing Ms. Yaroa, and I feel I can speak on behalf of Ms. Yaroa, but I think that she's already addressed some of these issues already since the time she's been on the council.
Well, the interesting thing to look at is also, what is the existing criteria that exists right now within that renaming committee? I'm not familiar with the criteria that they're using currently. So perhaps your comments and your sentiments right now probably mirror theirs. And I think what the intent is, from listening to your all's conversation in previous board meetings, is that this desire to take the renaming to the committee as opposed to having it being enacted at the council meeting. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, because that has been occurring, and I know that there's been discussions with regard to, why? And so, hence the reason this letter was asked, to start the process, or to continue that process, to make sure that it follows that process, if you will.
And if I'm not mistaken, over a year ago, I presented in front of the Facility and Naming Committee. But prior to that, they've struggled to have quorum for a long time. They have struggled to have quorum for a good while. But of course, maybe because they felt that maybe it wasn't a committee that was productive, in a sense that they weren't, it's not every month that you decide to rename something. So that's why that the recommendation is look at it every 2 years, look at it every 5 years. And give them a time frame. This committee is tasked every 5 years, for 6 months, 1 year. This is a task. Find facilities we can rename, and then take applications on who they should be named after, and that's it. Council should not take it, but it's gonna take leadership from council to do that first.
different buildings, I mean, park whatever that they're gonna rename, or this just came out because of the market?
It's been a conversation that's been going on for a little while.
This conversation started when, at the first meeting that I attended, at the time, they said it was gonna be $12 or $18 or $16,000 to rename the market courts, and which the citizens get zero benefits. It just, actually, it just creates chaos by having different names for the same facility. So that's how this discussion started. Like, it doesn't benefit anybody to change the name. I mean, certainly Mr. Papas merits a park, but maybe the new tennis courts can be named after him, or a new park can be after him, named after him, instead of renaming something.
So what happens if, say, like Market Square again, and then Papas comes from, like, we would like to redo the whole inside building, you know?
Or they wanna donate 100, 200,000.
Yeah, or it says it's still gonna be called Market, but the building's gonna be named maybe after Mr. Papas, he redid the whole, you know, is that possible?
Well, it's like similar to what we did at Divine Mercy. We kept the Divine Mercy Park, but it was dedicated
Dedicated to the family.
to the family.
I mean, that's where I see something where like, okay, Papas, you want, well, we're gonna redo the whole inside Market building, and just pay, you know, the building dedicated to Papa, not changing the name. No, I'm just saying, what if that comes around, when
In the
they're,
future,
when they're paying money to I mean, you got a Market, they need a new, it's in
Is it called Market Court or Market Park?
Market Street Courts.
Market Street
Market
Courts.
Street courts.
Is how
It
it's,
could be
Market,
Market,
no.
Market Street Park, but,
no, just the building, I'm not
that's
saying,
what I'm saying.
And
And then Papas,
in the buildings, that's, yeah, no,
Okay,
just.
we're looking at something that's already been done.
Correct, and we're looking at something right now, but if you go back, you had a previous council member named it after his parents, a particular park. I mean, and the swimming pool over in the north. I'll leave it to y'all as homework to figure out who that is, but, I mean, people were upset then, and that was over 10 years ago. And here we are having the same discussion now on whether people are for or they're against, but if no action or if no action is being taken, we're gonna see the same problem in 2 years or in 4 years, where whenever the next council comes on, it's gonna be a problem that's gonna keep coming back, and it's not addressed now. And whether, if it's us getting together and addressing that, fine, but I think that it has to start on top, and maybe them having something, on the charter that'll put that committee to not have to, you know, get together every month.
Right.
Yeah. And going back to your observation, I think, you know, they rebuilt 2 of the courts, you know, they put shades or lights or something. They could just put a big sign on it, donated by, family, that's it, donated by, I mean, they don't have to rename anything, yeah.
Austin has what's called the Parks Foundation. Now, I don't know if it runs through the city or it runs on, I think they run on their own, it's a nonprofit. It's
Kind of like Friends of the Library?
Yeah, it's something like that, and they get together, they fundraise, and they said, all right, this park needs improvements, you know, the cities are moving on it because it's not under a capital improvement project, or it's not, there's no funding, or whatever. Then they decided to get money together, go make that park improvement, kind of some of the work like Mr. Ramirez does. But they'll also dedicate benches, they'll dedicate other areas to, you know, people that have made contributions. There's no problem to that. You know, people that are willing to give back out of their own, that are generous, by all means, you know.
Most of the
there's been several
plazas,
examples, yeah.
most of the plazas, the old times, you know, in like Mexico, every plaza has a different name. So it was donated by Garcia family, it was donated by Juan Perez, you know.
so is the Papas Court, that's a done deal?
That's done, it was approved and it's done.
The unveiling is coming in June,
Okay.
next week, 2 weeks.
Right. So, yeah, so this is, of course, this is for discussion, right, we can vote on this, but just, wanted to bring this out for discussion, and I'd like to thank everyone for your input, and maybe something we can, next week.
For next meeting, you know, we'll have,
Is this the action item?
Yes,
What is-
yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was the action item. Yeah.
So based on what your all's comments were, each of you represent a council member in a district, and I'm sure that your concerns mirror your council members' concerns, correct?
Yes.
And so, I think it's just a discussion.
Yeah, and then, for next meeting, we can just, add or deduct whatever we want and present it, and then maybe we can vote on it.
Correct. So this is a working draft.
Yes.
And maybe through now to the next meeting, without taking any action.
Oh, we're just doing our council members saying this is what we're.
Correct, this is what we're working on, and if they have any input that we
So
can.
if we disagree, I'll be like,
You know what, guys, never mind.
I'm out of your committee, bro, find somebody else. Well, we don't agree, I won't be a part of the committee, like, that's.
And I think that the best selling point is going out and really letting them know that, hey, you know what, even if our council member, because as your council member mine is also just starting, but is, hey, you know what, like, you wanna be the ones that in, like I said, like in 5 or 10 years, we don't wanna have this conversation, because the same conversation that might be going on online right now on people up in arms because of a renaming of a street, it's the same conversation that has happened before
10 years
in
ago.
other parts of the city, because some other council member decided to name it after one particular person. A school district decided to name it after one particular person, and they got ahead of themselves, and then they had to go back and redact that name from that building. So, that's happened before. So, if there ought to be rules in place, there ought to be rules, there ought to be,
Yeah.
Right.
No procedures. Yeah.
legislation.
Guidelines.
But I like that 5-year thing, is like, hey, in 5 years, we have 5 years to come and request this, but all the stuff that goes through it, I like that.
Okay. All right, well, thank you all for your input, I think that's a good conversation. Okay, next one, staff reports, room number 7. I'll start off with the first one. So, Mr. Vasquez was there. This, if you're not, is there a way we can get an aerial, that way they can get a, they have it on their phone, they have one.
Yeah, but I don't, it costs no, they're not, those are.
Those are directly,
Yeah.
so they'll be presented to us.
Okay, so, God, about 3 weeks ago, is that all right, guys? Yes, we went to Concord Hill. So, one of the things that we've been, and I'm not just going on Concord Hills, let me just give you a little, history about this. One of the things that we've been battling is that we have HOAs that want to, they charge their residents, and then they wanna give it over to the city, and then we maintain them and all that, so, basically they're double dipping, for maintenance of parks and maintenance of, or whatnot, okay? So, 3 weeks ago, at Concord Hills, and that way you know exactly where it is, if you kinda have an idea, if you're on 359, right where the SAC is, where the SAC, instead of taking a left towards SAC, you take a right.
Concord Hills.
Concord Hills, right, down Concord Hills. And, it was a well-attended town hall meeting. And right now, as we speak, the park, the park belongs to HOA. Sometime back, I guess back then there was no pens, there was never a signed document, it was everything that, lo compone, tú lo dices así, yeah, over coffee, right, over coffee. So, pues, es the city, no es the city, but yeah, but we all were supposed to clean it. We even had a sign in front that says City of Laredo Parks and Rec Department.
Yeah,
for a good while. And then after Anita and Gloria, we started researching, there was never really a signed document that was executed. All right? So people will come and they see the sign City of Laredo. We had a bad vandalism here that happened, almost a couple of years ago that came out of the news. And I thought that I even chime in here a little bit because you probably remember it wrong. Sometime back, the arrangement that they had with the city said, okay, we'll buy you the playscape. We'll put the basketball courts, but you all maintain it. So again, this is just by word of mouth, handshake, thank you for coming, but then, to previous city managers, hey, corten el zacate porque va a haber something in May. And all of a sudden, our guys were going to cut him, until about a year ago, was, in talking with Rita, and when we were there, saying, hey, wait a minute, man, there's no, that belongs to the HOA.
Yeah.
Right? So, these guys, the Concord Hills people, the residents were paying for HOA, but yeah, we were maintaining it. After a while, we pulled out, we took the sign off about maybe a year ago, and now they're supposed to maintain, okay? So now, in the meeting, they wanna give it back to us, okay? But,
Who wants to go back to it?
the HOA.
Give it to us, period.
Give it to us, period. Money?
Because it's not ours.
Right, it's not ours. Now, I know, correct me wrong, 90% of all the people have to say yes
Correct.
from the HOA?
Yeah, 99, right, or?
I
90?
thought it was 99, but the councilwoman said that she spoke with Ms. Martinez and that it was 90.
Oh, okay, 90,
I
yeah.
had heard 99
Yes.
also.
Yeah, 90% of the people there have to agree to give it to. So, there was a big discussion, que yo está cuidado, who fixes the slides, and, you know, they just went on and on and on.
That's my question, why did you guys even do any work for that developer? Like, give him a park?
So they were saying.
It wasn't the developer, it was the subdivision itself. The development had already been developed. This happened in 2013.
Well, that's what I'm saying, why would the city say, okay, let's set you up
Because the development itself, the subdivision, didn't have the funds to be able to put in a playground. Their HOA fees are about $9 a month, and a playground, as we know, is well into the 100,000s. And so to do what we did with the concrete floor, basketball court, etc., they would never have had the funds to do it. So the councilman at the time
Right.
wanted to, because this was in his district, wanted to create a park for his constituents in that area.
And back then would have been just a trade, I'm like, we're gonna do the park and we're gonna keep the land. I mean, what I'm saying is, it's just a bad deal. I'm just saying,
How we got here doesn't matter, so what
I like to learn,
we're
no, I like to learn, so it's gonna repeat it, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and basically, it was probably a conversation, you know, over coffee or something. It's like, yeah.
After digging a little bit and listening to Gloria, it sounds like it was. It was just a handshake, pone aquí, pone acá, y limpia ahí, and, you know, we'll help you all out, but there was never executed.
No, that's what I'm saying, because nobody invested, I'm like,
Right.
When the city pays for something like that,
was-
it obviously doesn't come from discretionary funds, because you know, it's a big amount of money, right? But, or where is it go under capital improvement for the following year? Or
Mainly those parks are built for the park improvement fees.
Oh,
Mainly they come from park improvement fees. So if a subdivision being built, you know, it's, $314 per lot, which by the way, that's another one coming down the road a little bit, guys. We're gonna raise the fee. $314, $314,000 en lo que nos dieron. Entonces we use that money to the subdivision. So 90% of it will probably come from park improvement fees. You think so, or?
It just depends on the subdivision and in the area, but yeah, that is one access to create parks, which is what the ordinance is created for, is to actually build parks. The other area is capital improvement
Yeah.
or council discretionary funds.
Right.
So those are the three areas. Or CDBG funding if the area
Yeah,
is.
true.
is
That's
able
true.
so
to.
you don't want any more pocket parks, right?
We're trying to stay away from pocket parks. We're trying to, as per our master plan, we're trying to match them because there's a maintenance.
it makes sense. yeah.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
I mean, yeah, so, last we heard from the management company, they're gonna talk with, councilwoman, I think it's to see if they, you know, we're gonna want it, we're not gonna want it. You know, so, it's a nice park.
Their problem, what I understood is that the problem at least with the subdivision is that they can't get all HOA members together. So even to have that discussion, for them, it's a nightmare. So they just can't, they just can't.
If they need 90% of the residents, forget about it. It's never gonna happen.
And that's in their bylaws, so they can't dedicate the property to the city. So the other option is to enter into an MOU and the lease agreement, which enables us to have the property leased to us for 20 years, and we maintain it.
Which however,
But this
they're
means,
still collecting, they'll still be collecting.
yes, but there's other green areas, and it's $9, you know, when you're talking $500, $700,
Yeah.
okay, we've got a serious conversation here, you're double dipping. But when you're talking $9, they've got other green space areas.
Oh yeah, they have this detention pond over here.
Correct.
Actually, I was looking over here, and this would be a perfect walking trail right there.
Yeah, so, you know, this is all gonna connect, it's supposed to connect all the way up to Cuatro Vientos Road.
Yeah.
And that's why the council
Yeah.
wants to.
Right, she wants to do, because it wants, there's gonna be a connection that runs from, I call it Lago del Valle, or I call it Lago del Sur. Lago del Valle, through Las Misiones, through Southern, through Villa del Sol. All this is gonna be connected with a hike and bike trail. There you go, cross over underneath, cross over here, and then continue working our way west. Where am I? Yeah, working our way west, till it hits the trails over here by Highway, Cuatro Vientos Road, there it is. To connect, to hit the Cuatro Vientos Road. So that's where, that's the long-term,
It's a nice area.
see?
I've been out there, it's
Yeah.
a nice.
It could be a beautiful living park.
Right. So that'll be the only, advantage, that if we were to make it into one big linear park from Cuatro Vientos all the way down to Lomas del Sur.
Yeah, like Chaco, all those small parks connected.
Now connect to each other, right?
And cause, and I've had this conversation with, Councilmember Cigarroa, Melissa Cigarroa, that District 3 doesn't have, many, parks. They have the pocket parks, they
Yeah,
have.
small park.
Those very small parks, but all the other districts have all the other
Right.
larger parks and,
Right.
you know, much more parks as
Right.
well. So, you know, kind of getting into that with that area, because it was an area of concern, obviously, when, you know, people have been talking about it and said, hey, they wanted upkeep, they wanted small little details that the HOA couldn't even provide to them. So that's how that conversation initiated.
Just as simple as painting the basketball lines.
Mm-hmm.
Just as simple as painting the
The
basketball lines.
nets, the basketball
The
nets.
basketball
Yeah.
nets.
It looks sad.
Yeah.
It looks
So
sad.
now we just stand for, it's up to, it's in their side.
It's, well, if they're gonna, the HOA is gonna go to talk to Councilwoman to see if we wanna go into a lease agreement that, you know, we'll maintain it. The only reason will be is that we will be able to connect that, all those, like I told you, the whole section there,
That'd be nice.
you know, so.
Yeah, if you say that, then that'll be nice.
How much
I agree
would,
for the
how much
community.
would it cost the city?
Oh,
A lot. We haven't put pen to
we have
paper.
to put a plan, which we need to pretty soon, that way, cause that question's gonna come up.
And that's
Yeah.
additional because that's not work you wanna be doing right now. So let's say if it starts next fiscal year by, October. That's something that you are currently not doing right now, right? So that's
Right.
something that's gonna be added for your
Correct.
budget.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
But once you hit 20 acres per person, 20 and a half.
And this comes, and this comes to my addition where, I don't know if I can make that request, but it's not for us to take an action item right now. But our role as a board, are we able to, send council recommendation to raise the park improvement fees?
Oh, he's gonna talk
Is
to you
that-
about that here in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna be going there. Okay, so this is item number one there, that we're looking at, okay? Any questions before we go to item number two? And I'm gonna let James take this one. This is a new development that's coming up in Mines Road, big one.
Hey, Coach, what we're talking about now is gonna be repeated at the next one, or this is the only time we're gonna talk about it?
We can bring it back, if you said we can bring it back, we'll go to that, we
It
just
has
tell
to
you
come
bring it back.
back because this wasn't an action.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we're going into detail, but we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk
We
about
know
it.
it's just visitor right now.
Yeah, just kind of briefing you on the,
Make your notes.
yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
So we're gonna see it again.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is,
yeah.
With quorum.
There it
He's
is.
wondering about having to discuss it twice at length.
Oh,
So maybe we can give the Cliff's Notes today.
Yeah, exactly.
that's what I'm having to say.
Okay.
Cliff's Notes today, brief, and
Brief,
then
and
the
then-
next meeting, we can
Yeah.
go into detail.
Yeah, this is what we're looking at for the next meeting.
Right,
Exactly.
So
okay.
And the way we're gonna deep in the conversation, then we're gonna forget.
So So, and this one's one that we might have to talk about a little bit more because we're still considering taking this tract. So it's a 90-acre tract. There's a pond. They want to give us the pond.
Where's this at?
Another street,
Mines Road. So for direction.
between Mines Road and 35, right?
This is the new one, yeah?
Rancho Viejo.
That's what we're doing, that's 35.
Oh, okay.
This is Rancho Viejo Road.
Yeah,
So this is like where it dead ends here, and then you go into the property this way.
yeah, the storage unit,
Yeah.
And so
In front of the
there's like
dollar store.
there's like a low part down here, and then there's like a high part down up here where there's embankment around the lake. So we've had discussions with the developer, and I have the plans here. You can see the plans. They're planning 823 lots, so they need a park area. And so they have this big lake that's full of cattails around here. And it's really beautiful. When you get out there, it's really nice. The issue is that it has only one road and it stops around here. And with engineering, we discussed maybe providing another road coming through this way for emergency access. And then, but they also wanted a road to continue past this part here, so we would need a little bridge right there, so we could go all the way around it.
Can you zoom out? Okay, yeah. Is that Route 20 to the right?
No, it's not.
Route 35.
Mines Road right here.
You know that storm unit on Mines Road, that big one, facility, right behind you?
Right in front of the Family Dollar and the Wendy's or churches
Yeah, Mines Road.
on Mines Road.
North, right? Between 35 and...
No,
No, no, no, you know, when you drive to Mines Road, right front of Rancho Viejo, that storage unit, big, beautiful.
Uh-huh, behind it.
Yeah, and then the other one, that's 35.
Okay, yeah.
That's what we did
Right at Mines Road.
Yes, sir, on the Cerro storage, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
Yeah, so
exactly.
So it's a nice big acre lake. It's 90 acres, and so it is us accepting the maintenance of it if we do accept it. The developer was thinking that he could get credit for, you know, either credit or a tax abatement for the extra land. And so we've just been talking to engineering about it, and so we're asking them to provide us like a cost estimate for what it would take to develop the park into an actual park, you know, and getting connections to water and sewer, and also getting us like a good idea of like how we can expand this road around it, so that we can get all the way around it. But it would be great for fishing. I think it's stocked, and also canoeing. It's not very deep. It's only 8 foot deep, but it always has water.
But, okay, so he wants credit for that pond, or the area around it?
He wants either future park credit or he wants like a tax abatement.
Okay. Because he can't build there anyway.
No, but it's actually really nice. So it's and I know that in the last planning and zoning meeting they were talking about how we should preserve lakes because we don't know the future of Laredo's water issue. So we need to be able to preserve these lakes.
How much the developer has to donate park-wise for a big development like that?
It's the same number. The formula is the same. It just depends on how many units you're gonna look at.
Yeah, it's, I guess it's per acre of development, X amount per park.
Yeah, but they're way in excess. They don't need to donate that much, but they have the land and it's not a buildable area.
Yeah, because when we're gonna build the road, stuff like that, that's gonna be pretty hard with all the water underneath.
And even
So,
if,
you know, like, it's
no,
not-
but even if he wanted to, by US Environmental or whatever, he cannot do anything in that,
Yeah.
with that pond. So he has to leave it like that anyway.
Yeah, so
I mean, the ace is on the side of the city, not the developer.
Who would make the final recommendation whether if we were to take, it, or the city would be to acquire it, and then the upkeep? Would that come from Parks, or would that be engineering, or?
Recommendation by Parks, Planning and Zoning, and
Planning
then
and
Council.
Yeah. PZ also takes it.
Well, it's a nice place, I mean, yeah.
yeah.
We just need to see what we can do with it.
Yeah. Again.
And I like that it's kind of centralized with Mines Road and, you know, people that ride
Yeah,
there.
and it's 823 units, and they have 4 multifamily lots. So it's still going to be a lot of people. No, 5 multifamily lots. There's originally gonna be a school on it, but then they changed it back to residential.
Right now, we just put it back on the developer. Show us. You all do the legwork for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's where we're at. We'll keep you posted.
And then we're looking at the park improvement fees.
Right.
Upfront time.
Yeah.
And those will go up. Coach Toy. Okay,
Yeah, which, I'll wait for it. Okay.
Okay.
So again, so we're just gonna do the bullet points, right? So,
right.
that's on number 2. Number 3, I don't know if you all met our new athletic superintendent, Jose Ariola. Jose Ariola was, former player with the Tammy U. Come with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge of, from everything from athletics to sports to fields and all that good stuff, so glad to have him on board. He's in charge of leagues now, so his life just changed about him.
I used to do it, you see me on my phone right now, I'm just.
His phone will be ringing up the wall from 5:30 to 10 o'clock at night, or 11.
At least I'm not driving anymore.
And I told him, hey man, I tell you, life's gonna change, 'cause that's what I did for a year and a half, so, but that comes with the job, all right? So, anyways, one of the things that I wanted to do is, we want to expand our sports and leagues and all that, okay? Yes, we have, basketball leagues at the rec centers. Yes, we have, volleyball as well, but when we talk to the kids in the summer from Nixon, Martin United, Alexander, or all this from San Agustin, in the summer especially, there is no leagues for them other than if they play a local 7-on-7 tournament or something like that, okay? So one of the things that when we came on board, and now Tommy, when he came on board as well, was that we want the city of Laredo, our parks department, to be affiliated with someone, okay, with an organization, all right? So there's this organization, San Texas Amateur Athletics Federation, okay? They are based, this is the whole state of Texas. We belong to the region in the valley, okay, which is Fort Texas. Is that the headquarters?
Region 2 is for Bronco, no.
Yeah, but what the headquarters is, I know sometimes McAllen, or it kind of.
This one wasn't for it, it moves
Okay,
around.
all right. So we belong to region number 2, which is the valley all the way down. And we're talking about not just football, we're talking about golf, we're talking about flag football, volleyball, summer track and field, name it. Anything that you could think of, we want to become as a city of Laredo Parks and Rec department. So these kids can join, and they play under they play under the city of Laredo Parks under that flag. There's regional qualifications, like say, they're gonna have a 7-on-7 flag football tournament. So we will send the Laredo kids to go play in Edinburgh. The main thing is I want to bring those guys over here because they have a big state tournament that puts a lot of heads in beds. All right, but I'm gonna reach you for the fences. But before we do that, is we want to make sure that, hey, look at Laredo's participate. So we were members, but only the track and field summer program was. Remember, I traveled. I don't know if you all remember that. We were traveling up to, I think it was College Station when we were state tournament. Well, now we want to do all different sports: men, young adults, high school kids, junior high. So I'll let him talk about a little bit about it, and then we'll go from there. Just to give him a brief insight of it.
Yeah, we went to Far Texas to that meeting, for Region 2. We were able to see how they work and the different leagues they have, and also the new registration process. I think there's a little presentation I created.
Yeah, which one?
The
The one,
the third one?
this?
Yeah.
It's also in your binders if
Yeah.
you want to see it in your
Which
binders.
So yeah, we went on May 11th. We were there at Far Texas at their location, their building, and we were able to look into all of this. Basically went up to, we talked over the introduction with all members that were there, the kind of updates, and the updates basically were the following. We looked into the registration process, which now they have an easier, a more friendly registration form online for individuals or teams to register for their tournaments. And this is were the following forms.
Go back to this one, go back to that. Okay, so these are the cities that participate right now. The only thing is that we pay a fee, we pay an annual fee, and then the kids will pay for, let's say they're gonna play in a track meet, or they're gonna play in a flag football, they pay like $5 or $10, but they cannot play on that until the city is registered under TAF. You get me? They just can't just show up in fall and say, hey, I got a team here I want to play.
So the city sends a team and then.
Yes,
So that's for the registration.
And it would be $5 per sport for the whole summer program. For event. So Stadium tournament, June the 5th, $5. Stadium tournament, June the 15th, $5.
Yeah.
Along, but they cannot participate because they have to register with us and then we send the registration over to TAF. All right? And there's a lot of, we're so behind in that, guys, and that's why I totally want to push it on this. Okay?
And the city has never participated in.
No, we haven't. No, that's why I took advantage of it. Yeah, so we want to move forward with this, and that way we can get all the kids, keep them busy in the summer. Right, keep them busy in the summer. Go ahead, Joe, sorry.
Yeah, and that was basically the registration form. This is the way, the new example, is basically of the team registration form where actually it'll tell them what sport they're participating. It might have the 500 meter, the 1,800, depending on whatever they're registered for. It'll give a list of the team. It's more friendly. Before they showed me an example of it, I didn't bring it, but it was all everywhere. Like you would have to go into one page to look into what sport you were gonna play. Now it actually has all the areas there, and it'll tell you if you're on it. It'll tell you you're on this one. It has your name in it. It'll include every single activity you're participating in. So it's a lot more friendly than before. This is the updates for the track and field. This is where they're going to be hosting some of the track and field activities there, and it's some of the big ones: Palmview, McAllen, Mission.
This is the one I want to get eventually. This is the big one. This is tons of people show up for that one. All right, but we gotta get in there first.
What are the age groups that are involved?
For the age groups, let me see if I have it here.
They went all the way up to.
So it was it's here. I have it here. Let me
Zoom on. Okay, so they just pick let's just pick basketball, I guess, for this.
For basketball, they do have the adult bike tournament deadline. They have the men's major 11, 6 feet under, and they also have the winter youth. Would you have 13 and under, 11 under, 9 under, 7 under, depending on the divisions as well. But yeah, it's 7 all the way to 13, yeah, 15, 17.
Boys and girls.
Yeah, boys and girls. Yeah, I mean, the divisions.
When you all said that, it has to be registered through the city, of course, that you all send the team, then the children, obviously like through their parents, they're required to show up over there, the city takes them, you all also travel.
We used to, but we try, now it becomes remember the days that we used to become now illegal, we can't take kids. So, but they will have to get there themselves. They pay their $5. What is it? Oh, your name is Jose Gomez. Okay, you're in Laredo. Yes, Laredo's signed, so they pay their $5. But they will get over there.
So all you're doing is signing up now with this, if you wanna go to anything, you can't do it city, but you're paying for everything.
Right. Or we can have our own little league, let's say flag football.
Yeah.
We have our own little league.
And you push.
And then those guys that win first or second can go qualify to go play on before the TAF.
Yeah, that sounds cool like that.
Yeah.
Upward mobility.
Right there. So.
And I think that's how we give the kids also exposure, or the families exposure that the city's doing this.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's been in my radar for a while, and then COVID hit, but now Jose's on board, and now we're gonna, so we pay, I think, like $200 a year, if I'm not mistaken, is that American?
So we're having like a local tournament here with your golfers, these are the top 5, we're gonna send them paid everything from the city to represent the city?
No, we can't pay for it, they have to pay.
No, I'm just asking, like.
Yeah.
We can't, that's why we got, nixed on taking the kids in bands to track and field. Legal came back and said, you can't do and spend resources from the city for a selected few.
Right.
And so taxpayers' money, et cetera. And so and liability. So put a stop to that.
Yeah, and.
Council can help do it and give monies to help support and sponsor and such, but we cannot transport anyone.
Can the parents organize like a charter to pick them up?
Yes, parents on their own can do, but it can't be affiliated with us, that we are asking for.
There's
So
one
parents can do
already,
it.
So they're doing their own
having
thing,
teams
and we're just
from
kind of
all over the
hosting it.
place.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for now, but this is what the city
Yes.
Like my friends,
Members of TWA. The cities.
Have to take care of that, maybe, or-
You know how like
Two.
we leave
Yeah. Well, here, what they're,
If it was a second, someone would take them to Austin.
you know, you compete here, and we have
Yeah,
all the
right, now,
statistics here.
but now at least they got something they can compete and go on.
And you give us, I mean, the task webpage out.
That's what I'm saying, we're more to. Coach, maybe we should wait till the next meeting, because we're gonna go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my motivation. We'll get into more detail.
Take your pick.
Okay,
One of them has to be me.
all right, good deal. Okay, number 4, budget, CIP, all that, Anita is gonna take care of this one real brief. This is, stuff that we wanna bring up for next year. There was a couple of, I guess this is your Santa Claus list that we have, our wish list. I think it's supposed to be about this long, yeah.
You want me to share it for you?
As part of our family, yes. Your share is,
Free tour, and then.
yes.
The next one.
We had, 3 items this past year, and we're working on spending the money. We had $1 million for cameras. We're in the process already of creating, cameras that are compatible with real-time police departments, so there's $1 million earmarked for that. That's not gonna be near enough. We had $185,000 for aquatic shades. We had, $700,000 for market tennis courts overlay. We're currently working on that. It's getting ready to go out for bids. Next year, we're looking at $2 million. We're looking for city park shade replacement, $250, city playground replacement, $250, and this is on an as-needed situation. Another $1 million for parks. We have a lot of vandalism in the parks, so we're trying to fix that. We need a bucket truck. There's some things that we can't take care of. That's $225,000. A lift is $75,000. F-250s, gators, and we're also working on inventory software and work order software. It's,
What's that one with?
it's,
How many feet?
it's a, they said, I don't have the footage, I apologize, but it's for those super high
The
trucks
tall
that
one,
we
the big
can't,
lift,
It's the standard.
the tall lights.
The biggest one.
I'm sorry,
What are the vehicles that you'll need?
F-250s, we need some pickup trucks.
Because we just bought one, but it wasn't the biggest one, we paid $25,000 out of,
Oh, the bucket
bucket
truck,
truck.
and then 2
If
pickup
you
trucks.
not right now, what bucket truck?
We have a small one, and then we gotta bother traffic, and then
Around their schedule.
around their schedule.
Traffic, have one that they're getting rid of, and then, or if they were sending, or
We want to do it when it's.
It got to the point where we're needing it much more
Cost
frequently.
more money to fix it? Yeah, because I do construction, but we're.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
man, you're gonna use one and.
No, just so, because then that's something that council might throw.
Well, let's say one thing, like, they're buying the bucket, but it's not gonna be one every year, it's just gonna last for.
No,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another thing, is to, I mean, something they do
Right.
need,
Right,
like, the cameras is really good.
Yeah.
yes.
Cameras, we had $1 million, and we're gonna ask for $1 million next year. Our goal is to have one camera in each district in the major parks.
Well, Slaughter needs more than one.
Yeah, right,
Well, one's camera system.
yeah.
Oh,
It could be-
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're gonna, and then next year we'll identify, more parks, so we can go put them.
And Parks identifies which park.
We get together, we get together with PD, so we can see where the vandalism is, so we can kinda go, we go by stats.
Yeah.
Stats and.
We're gonna have that cash people?
And another thing we're doing for some time, we're in the process of ordering, I think John's gonna order 250 signs that we're gonna put at the parks, and it's gonna say, park under surveillance, even though we don't have park, even though we don't have cameras. Parks under surveillance, you'd be surprised how much that will deter people from thinking about before we do it.
Just put a fake one.
All the stuff.
don't tell anybody.
No, I mean, yeah,
People on Facebook.
No, pero si funciona, the fake cameras, You know what I put outside my house? Those rechargeable lights.
Yeah.
Really now?
All the way to home.
Ya no se you know, exacto.
Even the sign, the small ring camera, it's,
Que vayan mejor.
You can use this one.
Come this way.
Just identify yourself as women, ahí está.
How do you wait?
For 30 minutes, for 30 seconds, yeah.
There you go.
Sometimes I do, bro, sometimes I do.
So that's it in our CIP. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, good deal. Let's go to number 5, summer program.
Who has the?
Chris, did you put that up?
Yeah, 'cause then next time we're meeting is mid-June, so that'd be
Yeah.
late summer.
Oh,
Where's the note?
I started.
We can discuss this one.
Well, I don't think,
Well, I'm gonna open the upcoming.
I think
events
maybe
for
the
you.
summer program, we can take off the agenda for the next one and we hear it on this one, because it's no action. It's gonna be mid-June by the time we meet again, so we could,
okay, I'm gonna go over the summer programs real quick. This is our annual fishing derby, Lake Casablanca, happening June 10th. Very well attended, gets the kids out and the parents out, so that's cool. Summer program happening at 9 different sites. This is the first year in a long time that we're actually doing it at a school up north, and that's by special request. However, we're still coming off of COVID, and so our numbers are still a lot lower on week 1 than they have been in a long time. So we normally hit 1,700 kids a summer, for all 3 sessions. 3 sessions, 3 weeks each.
Real quick. So we went with Malakoff, for District 6, because as you know, one of the biggest gripes was there's no rec centers up in the north.
Uh-huh,
So we're trying to MOU with some of the schools
okay.
so that we can use their schools
I remember we
for the
said-
gym and all that stuff.
And is there a charge for the program?
Yes,
Yeah,
there
yes,
is.
it's $60 for the whole program.
Okay.
For the whole summer,
For every session, sir.
for every session, I'm sorry.
For every session, and, are we getting flyers on that? On email or
So
something?
on the Facebook.
On the Facebook, the Zero Radio Facebook page?
It's on our park, yeah.
Okay, so I can share them on the.
Yeah, so,
Gloria, can you do me a favor and make sure every board member gets this flyer for the summer program? We'll make sure you get it personally.
because the furthest north we had was Hillside Rec Center. So now we're extending, I thought Dr. King wanted that, so we're gonna move all the way to Malakoff. So, and then hopefully, if it goes good, we'll find another school next year and do 2 in the north. Okay, all right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's quite all right.
Yeah, I'm sending my nephews there, for sure.
There you go. This is our tennis program. We'll be having tennis programs, classes, camps. We're also joining with LTA. They're doing some free camps, tennis camps. We'll have them at Haynes, at Market, at Father Mangabo. Raul Salazar is gonna be giving them, over there. Okay,
I'm gonna go back to the front page.
next one, okay. Memorial Weekend, that's coming up. Pools, splash pads, all open. The schedules are different based on the different,
Are you able to bring us lifeguards this year?
I was,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you said it, thank goodness, yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm proud of my aquatics guys, they pushed them, we certified them once a week, they got certified and they're hard on the spot. So we got enough lifeguards, not like a couple of years ago that we were struggling.
Yeah.
So all pools will be open on Memorial Day weekend.
kids wanna work.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah. Hey, 13 something an hour, not bad, right? So,
next concert in the park, as we discussed briefly, it was moved from this past Saturday to June 3rd due to weather. God willing, we have a beautiful day. Very blessed day.
Don't say it's gonna rain. Don't say it's gonna rain.
Okay,
It's gonna be hot.
this is something that's still up for discussion. This is a July 4th event. We've currently got it at Unitrade, and the other place is still up for discussion. Council District 1 and 2 are both requesting July 4th celebrations in their parks. And we've got.
Separately?
We've got separately. We've got enough fireworks for only one more. We've got a local individual, and he can only handle 2 events. One of them is Unitrade, because he's already contracted with. The other one is still up for debate.
But, the southern one, District 1 and 2 is gonna be, would be separate?
Correct.
Sure.
That's what they're requesting.
that's what they're requesting.
So it's a matter of, we're here to do our job. And so we have limited resources. So if we have 10 chairs, as Coach said, you get 5, you get 5. But fireworks is gonna be
And
the,
can we work on that in the future, like saying, hey, you know what, Independence Day in one district gets rotated, not just, I mean,
We've addressed it on the Christmas, the tree lighting.
Yeah.
But they, you know, it's something.
And that's something that's something that y'all can talk to your council members about. You know, really reach out to them and tell them, hey, you know, we suggest, hey, one Christmas light.
Well, that's one thing I thought about, and it's not Gilbert's mind of thinking, but say, if you win your first year, you're not allowed to do anything. To me, you know, you're not allowed to, the following week, you're already calling parks, I'm gonna do something. I'm like, I think for the first year, I think any city council member wins needs to relax and worry about learning the city.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the second year, you know, then you can throw something, but I don't like that the first year, that's all I've been seeing, is just,
Events.
like, hold on, you just mentioned it right
No,
now.
but the tree lighting, for example, I know, Central Park is big. So, I mean,
No, but
and every year it keeps growing. If you keep the same event every year, it will just grow and grow.
Well, the thing is the city of Rivera is supposed to, every district should have their own.
So let me clarify something also, maybe this might help.
You're right, but they're using the parks to do all of them, that's
And,
not.
and for a good while, North Central, they hosted the fireworks show, right? So,
North Central,
No?
no,
Did they ever?
it's always been Unit Trade. North
Unit
Central,
Trade.
always the Christmas.
also, it's always been, correct, so it's
Well,
always been
that's
unit
one of the
trade.
Christmas
So
things.
then, fine, then maybe the other one should, you know, between District 1, 2, and 3, they ought to get together and say, all right, do the other one.
You do the lights and you do the fire.
And then the other one does the lights, and the other one, you make your 4th of July work. You make your
But that's, I mean,
Christmas tree.
Right.
I'm saying, because they make you guys, hey, it's like,
Right.
no, dude, that's incorrect.
Well, we stand ready to follow the directions.
That's right.
No, no, yeah, but I'm saying, that's one thing that, you know, I'm gonna talk to you, was like, hey, man, the first year if anybody wins, they shouldn't be doing any type of,
Sometimes I
because
wonder.
District 6 has fireworks, but it's public level anyway.
Let me just clarify something real quick before, I know we're gonna. So we have
We can
Park.
always look at this.
Parks and Rec events initiated by Parks and Rec.
Correct.
For example, the concert in the park. That, no tiene que ver nada with council members, that just, we do 8 concerts, one in every district, from February all the way until about November, we go 4 and 4. I think we did 5 and 3, and we're gonna do 5 and 3 this year, right, just kidding. Okay, so that is us, okay? Now, Christmas tree lighting, that is not us.
4th of July as well, is not you.
No,
Yeah.
no, not a, we're not putting a 4th of July, right? That comes from a council event that they're talking about, right? So, when we have our events, the council members were told, hey, we're gonna have an event, right? But if they do get involved, it counts as one of their events. You know, so they don't, I mean, it's just a courtesy that we tell them, but they don't get involved. But once they do the Christmas tree lighting, once they do a Halloween, once they do an Easter egg basket, we help, but it's council.
Now that we're having this conversation, there was an agenda item this past council meeting regarding that, but then it was tabled indefinitely, right?
Right.
There was no action
Right,
taken, so
yeah.
you can send all of this as recognition.
Yeah, so it's gonna come back again, along with the river road, so that's gonna be another while before we get to that. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead,
Okay, and back to school fun day, these are also orchestrated by council. We're still pending the days, of course. These are special events. This is what's coming up, Saturday, March. Oh, I'm sorry. We did upcoming first. These are events that we've done, Family Day. These are some of the pictures of all the fun that the city had. This was the Kite Festival that we did March 15th. This is another festival that we had one in North Laredo and in South Laredo. This one we thought was really cool. Another rock concert. Those were pictures from the rock concerts in the park. We have different genres of music depending on the demographics of where we're actually doing the concert. Family night under the stars. This is something that the councilman brought in that was kind of cool. We used to do a fun day in the park, and he incorporated it into a sleepover. So it's a campover, and so that's really cool.
And that one's unique to that district, because
Correct.
now, you know,
It is.
Councilman Gutierrez is now known for doing that.
Right, and that's why it's
Yeah.
kind of really cool.
It's-
And that's why it's cool working together, because sometimes you come up with something just totally unique.
Yeah, and I think
that
that's,
was one of
you know,
them.
they have to be creative
Mhm.
with that.
More concerts in the park, like I said, this is country, the other one was Jolly Ranchers, and that's it. So those are our events.
No. That's it right there.
Oh, enjoy.
We Photoshop them all.
Yes, that's directive.
You wanna do park updates or anything we need to do?
No, that's good, we'll cover all that
Yes,
later.
that's
Next meeting.
with,
We'll do-
Haynes Recreation.
Yeah, it's
okay. We'll do a joint.
Yes.
We stand adjourned.
Gracias.
As a discussion.
It was a
Discussion group.
And then the next week, since you guys were here, we already knew.
We'll rewind.
We'll go ahead and adjourn, and,
No, just show the video, and we'll just sit down.
It wasn't videotaping.
Am I my email?
Right?
Yes.
Yes, just, we're adjourned.
Oh, you have to open your, oh, right here, but.
There you go.
Speaking of, hold on, speaking of you all wanna see me, hold on just a minute.
Oh, it's scheduled.
Sorry for 4 years.
Excuse me, Mr. Howard.
No, that's close.
Hold on, I want to say that this is a video.
It's right there. What is your email for?
People, I think we do, they said, hey, man, first year, you come with the council member, you can't do any type of
They
a.
need
Yeah.
to do that, you know, that-
That's what I'm saying, you win, that Thursday, you win on Wednesday.
But we think, I wanna get things started.
I'll start now.
And you know what?
Eight.
It doesn't, like, it doesn't put you.
Well, I think the first year we win, they need to learn to see each other, you know, I'll be worried about throwing a party with all, I mean, to me, it's,
Is this one?
No,
No, you've addressed it with the speaker.
Lorena, wait and stop. Is it that one?
Is it trigger?
No, that's it over, don't help with that one.
La vistera de.
It has to be, they have their chance if this last comes.
Real quick, this is, we came out with this video, city manager and, promoting, we're not promoting, we are,
Oh, I saw.
vandalism, not to promote vandalism? No. Addressing vandalism. Addressing vandalism.
Promote safety.
If it's in your.
keep it real beautiful as ever before this is
What
fun.
is on there?
Allá,
Ruben's under.
right there.
Can we put a sign that says, you know, perpetrator will be hanged?
Was it today?
This morning.
This is what he's. The NFC shot.
Maybe the speaker's not on.
What park is it? Oh, it's the Central Park. North Central.
Yeah.
Nomás lo están viendo como mago.
Acá vamos a dar las palabras.
That was a Macy's commercial code.
I'm also proud of it.
Oh, there it is. You just have to click the bottom one.
He always comes
Yeah,
out.
Joe West. It says spokesperson. on there.
We'll start again. Start again.
Community's ability to vote.
How to work.
As long as I don't shoot it.
And we tell everyone that this is your backyard and this is your backyard. So let's take care of it. We do it for the public so they can enjoy it for our kids and all our kids, our grandkids. Hopefully, anybody, whether junior high kids, high school kids, whoever it is, they can realize that, hey, this is for the little brothers that they can come and play. This is for the little cousins.
It was this morning.
Put your hands behind your back.
Take care of your house.
That's funny. What are the odds?
Trying to find the coach.
Dang it, it took the cleaners.
The parks belong to everyone. Whenever somebody comes and damages or graffitis up a park, it really does affect.
That's the ADA.
It's a TV.
That's the 88 part.
Take advantage of the services, the amenities that are here at the parks.
Aquí también chiflados.
You know, it's unfortunate, these are different types of vandalism, so we even get into dog parks sometimes, they go and, you know, get one of the amenities that we have, and we gotta knock it down, you know, these things cost money, and to go towards having to fix a park, fix a dog park, remove the paint, and a lot of the manpower as well. Sometimes those same people that do the, take away the graffiti have to end up not taking care of the park because they spend time fixing that problem.
Graffiti is damage, criminal damage, and so those criminal damages do come with varying costs, varying degrees of punishment, and so we do have officers who are assigned solely dedicated to park surveillance, and so you can grab one of them if you see something, if you're walking along the trails with your families, you're in here for the exercise, and if you see something that you didn't see the day before, you're a regular, please report it. The officers have been successful in tracking down those persons who are involved. The tag marks are sometimes unique, and so the investigators who follow up some of these cases have been successful in effecting arrests. Even after the fact, there's more and more camera systems that are being installed in our park systems as well. We do have a real-time crime center that basically monitors the activities that are going on during the parks, before, during, after hours.
On the average, including all the resources, employees, hours, and equipment that we have to buy, we spend anywhere between $75,000 to $80,000 a year. That $75,000 to $80,000 can be used to buy a playscape. A nice playscape, they run about $90,000, and we can put at one of the parks throughout the city. But instead, if we gotta go and we gotta take care of by paint remover, all this stuff that hopefully, again, that our community and all of us can take pride in our parks, and hey, look how beautiful parks that we have out here. And, even to the point to adopt a park, if you see something wrong, hey, that's not right, call parks, call park police, call 311.
You can reach out to us through social media, the LPD app, you can call Crime Stoppers, and in any of these mediums, you can actually remain anonymous. If you actually see something that's happening, something that's, criminal damage, someone's taking apart a park, you can call 911 because it's a crime in progress. And so all these things are available to you, can remain anonymous completely with the information. Parks are sacred ground to relationship to safety and usability for the community.
Bien.
Can we see the Spanish version?
The extended version?
They actually did in Spanish, I haven't seen the Spanish one.
You're not gonna stand up there and say goodbye, thank you for coming.
All right, thank you again for coming. Appreciate your time. Well, the next one is no more